YouTube, Otaku here. We're going to be getting back into page 467. Yep, this is where we are. Alright. I'm going to be your personal narrator for the final segment of this book. Next part, we'll go ahead and smoke that. Alright, just keeps wanting to try to get back to 450. We're already past all that. 467. Almost there. Right here. Oh yeah. I'm going to be your personal narrator. My name is Otaku. If you haven't been on to the channel before, please go ahead and check out the channel description before we begin any further. If you have been onto the channel before, please grab your eucalyptus and begin the inhalation ritual. Sadly, I just went through doing that myself right now, so I'm not going to be joining you if you are beginning now. But with that, let's get into the book. At the end of 466, The Grapes of Wrath. Paul reached the catwalk. He found a lower end floating. He stepped on it into the mud and underwater. "Think you can make it all right, John?" Question mark. He asked. "I'll be all right. Just go on." Paul cautiously climbed the catwalk and squeezed himself in the narrow opening. The two lamps were turned low. Maul sat on the mattress beside Rosa Sharon, and Maul fanned its still face with a piece of cardboard. Mrs. Wainwright poked dry brush into the stove, and dank smoke edged out around the lids. It filled the car with the smell of burning tissue. Maul looked up at Paul when he entered, and then quickly down. "How is she?" Question mark. Maul did not look up at him again. "All right, I think. Sleeping now." The air was fetid, and close with the smell of the berth. Uncle John chambered and held himself upright against the side of the car. Mrs. Wainwright left her work and came to Paul. She pulled him by the elbow towards the corner of the car. She picked up a lantern and held it over an apple box in the corner. On a newspaper laid a blue shriveled-like mummy. "No." The baby didn't make it. "Never breathed," said Mrs. Wainwright softly. "Never was alive." Uncle John turned and shuffled tiredly down to the car in the dark end. The rain whisked softly to the roof now, so softly that they could hear Uncle John's tired sniffling from the dark. Paul looked up at Mrs. Wainwright. He took the lantern from her hand and put it on the floor. Ruthie and Winefield were asleep on their own mattress, their arms over their eyes to cut out the light. Paul walked slowly to Rosa Sharon's mattress. He tried to squat down, but his legs were too tired. He kneeled instead. Maul fanned her square of cardboard back and forth. She looked at Paul for a moment, and her eyes were wide and staring, like a sleepwalker's eyes. Paul said, "We done what we could." "I know." "We worked all night, a tree cut out the bank. I know. You hear it under the car? I know. I heard it. Think she's gonna be alright? I don't know. 468. Well, couldn't we have done nothing? Ma's lips were stiff and white. No. There's only one thing to do, ever, and we done it. We worked till we dropped in a tree. Rain laying up some. Ma looked at the ceiling and then down again. Paul went on, complied to talk. I don't know how she'll rise. Might flood the car before we know it. I know. You know everything. She was silent and the cardboard moved slowly back and forth. Did we slip up? He pleaded. Is there anything we could have done? Ma looked at him strangely. Her white lips smiled in a dreaming compassion. Don't take no blame. Hush. He'll be alright. Changes, they're all over. Maybe the water. Maybe we'll have to go. Well, when it's time to go, we'll go. We'll do what we gotta do. Now hush. You might wake her. Mrs. Wainwright broke twigs and poked into the sodden, smoking fire. From outside came the sound of an angry voice. I'm going to see that son of a bitch myself. And then, just outside the door, Al's voice. Where do you think you're going? Going to see the bastard, Joel. No, you ain't. What's the matter with you? Well, if you don't have the food idea about the bank, well, if you don't have a fool's idea about the bank, we'll have to go out. Now our car's dead. Think ours is burning up the road? I'm going in. Al's voice was cold. You're gonna fight your way in. Paul got slowly to his feet and went to the door. All right, Al. I'm coming out. It's all right, Al. Paul slipped down the catwalk. Ma heard him say, we got sickness. Come on down here. The rain scattered light on the roof now, and a new risen breeze blew up against its sweeps. Mr. Wainwright came from the stove and looked down at Rosa Sharon. Dawn's coming soon, ma'am. Why don't you get some sleep? I'll settle with her. No, said Ma. I ain't tired. It's a pig's eye, says Mrs. Wainwright. Come on, you lay down a while. Ma fanned the air slowly with her cardboard. You've been friendly, she said. We thank you. So Rosa Sharon did not give born to a baby, but gave born to a stillborn. The stout woman smiled. No need to thank. Everybody's in the same wagon. Suppose we was all down. You'd give us a hand. Yes, Ma said. We would. Or anybody. Used to be the family was first. It ain't so now. It's anybody. Worse off we get, the more we can do. The more we got to do. We couldn't have saved it, Mrs. Wainwright said. I know, said Ma. Ruthie sighed deeply and took her arm from over her eyes. She looked blindly at the lamp for a moment and then turned her head and looked at Ma. Is it born? She demanded tiredly. Is the baby out? Mrs. Wainwright picked up a sack and spread it over the apple box in the corner. Where's the baby? Ruthie demanded, now sitting up. Ma wet her lips. There ain't no baby. There ain't never was no baby. We was wrong. Shucks, Ruthie yelled. I wish it had been a baby. Mrs. Wainwright sat down beside Ma and took the cardboard from her and fanned the air. Ma folded her hands in her lap, and her tired eyes never left the face of Rosa Sharon. Sleeping in exhaustion. Come on, Mrs. Wainwright said. Come on, Mrs. Wainwright said. Just lay down. You'll be all right beside her. Why, you'd wake up and she took a deep breath even. All right, I will. She stretched out of the mattress beside the sleeping girl. Mrs. Wainwright sat on the floor and kept watch. Paul and Al and Uncle John sat on the car doorway and watched the steely dawn come. The rain had stopped, but the sky was deep and solid with cloud. As the light came, it reflected onto the water. The men had seen the currents of the stream slipping swiftly down, leaning black branches of trees, boxes, boards. The water swirled into the flat where the boxcar stood. There was no sign of embankment left. On the flat, the current stopped. The edges of the flood were lined with yellow foam. Paul leaned out of the door and placed a twig on the catwalk just above the water line. The men watched the water slowly climb to it, lifted it gently, and flooded it away. Paul placed another twig an inch above the water and settled back to watch. "Think it'll come inside the car?" Al asked. "Can't tell. There's a hell of a lot of water going to be coming down from the hills there. Can't tell. Might start up the rain again." Al said, "I've been thinking. If she comes in, everything will get soaked." "Yeah? Well, she won't come up more than 3 or 4 feet into the car because she'll go over the highway and spread out first." "How'd you know?" Paul asked. "I took a sight on her. Found the end of the car." He held his hand. "About this far up she'll come." "All right," Paul said. "What about it? We won't be here." "We got to be here. Truck's here. Takes a week to get the water out of her when the flood goes out." "Well, what's your idea?" "We could tear out the sideboard to the truck and build a kind of platform in here to pile our stuff up and set on off." "Yeah? How do we cook? How do we eat?" "Well, it would keep our stuff dry." The light grew stronger outside, a gray metallic light. The second little stick floated away from the catwalk. Paul placed another one higher. "Sure climbing," he said. "Guess we better do that." Ma turned restlessly in her sleep. Her eyes stared wide open. She cried sharply in warning. "Tom? Oh, Tom! Tom!" Mrs. Wainwright spoke soothingly. The eyes flickered closely against Ma and squirmed under her dreams. Oh, poor Ma. Poor Ma. Mrs. Wainwright got up and walked to the doorway. "Hey," she said softly, "we ain't gonna get out soon." She pointed to the corner of the car where the apple box was. "That ain't doing so good. Just 'cause trouble and sorrow. Couldn't you fellas kind of take it out and bury it?" The men were silent. Paul said at last, "Guess you're right. It's kind of sorrow. Against the law to bury it. There's a lot of things against the law that we can't help doing." "Yeah," said Paul. Al said, "We gotta get them truck sides torn out before the water comes up much more." Paul turned to Uncle John. "Will you take and bury it while Al and me get the lumber ready?" Uncle John said sullenly, "Why do I gotta do it? Why don't you fellas? I don't like it." And then, "Sure, I'll do it. Sure, I will. Come on, give it to me." His voice began to rise. "Come on, give it to me." "Don't wake him up," said Mrs. Wainwright. She brought the apple box to the doorway and straightened the sack decently over it. "Shovel straight right on behind you." Uncle John took the shovel in one hand. He slipped out the doorway. In the slowly moving water, it was rising nearly to his waist. Before he struck bottom, he turned and settled the apple box under his other arm. Paul said, "Come on, Al. Let's get the lumber in." In the gray dawn light, Uncle John waded around the end of the car, past the Joel truck, and climbed the slippery bank to the highway. He walked down the highway, past the boxcar flat, until he came to a place where the boiling stream ran close to the road, where the willows grew along the side road. He put his shovel down and, holding the box in front of him, he edged through the brush until he came to the edge of the swift stream. For a time, he stood watching it swirl by, Leaving its yellow foam among the willow streams, he held the apple box against his chest. Then he leaned over and set the box in the stream and steadied it with his hand. He said fiercely, "Go down and tell him. Go down in the street and ride and tell him that way. That's the way you can talk. Don't ever know if I was a boy or if you was a boy or a girl. We ain't gonna find out now. Go on down now and lay in the street. Maybe they'll know then." He guided the box gently out of the currents and let it go. He settled it low into the water and edged sideways, whirled around, and turned slowly over. The sack floated away, and the box, caught in the swift water, floated quickly away and out of sight, behind the brush. Uncle John grabbed the shovel and went rapidly back into the boxcar. He sloshed down into the water and waded to the truck, where Paul and Uncle John were working, taking down the 1x6 planks. Almost there. Page 472. Paul looked over at him. "Get it done? ? Yeah. Well, look," Paul said. "If you'll help out, I'll go down to the store and get us some stuff to eat." "Get some beans," Al said. "I need some meat." "I will," Paul said, and he jumped down from the truck and Uncle John took his place. Where they pushed the planks into the car door, Ma awakened and sat up. "What you doing?" "Gonna build up a place to keep out of the way." "Why? It's dry in here." "Ain't gonna be. Water's coming up eventually." Ma struggled up to her feet and went to the door. "We gotta get out of here." "Can't," Al said. "All our stuff's here. Truck's here. Everything we got." "Where's Paul?" "Gonna go get stuff for breakfast." Ma looked down at the water. It was only 6 inches down from the floor by now. She went back to the mattress and looked at Rosa Sharon. The girl stared back at her. "How you feel?" Ma asked. "Tired? Just tired and tuckered out. Gonna get some breakfast into you real soon." "I ain't hungry, Ma." Rosa Sharon turned to her side. Mrs. Rainwright moved beside Ma. "She looks all right. Come through just fine." Rosa Sharon's eyes questioned Ma, and Ma turned to avoid the question. Miss Rainwright walked to the stove. "Ma?" "Yeah? What you want? Is it all right?" Ma gave up the attempt. She kneeled down on the mattress. "You can have more," she said. "We done everything we knew." Rosa Sharon struggled and pushed herself up. "Ma?" "You can't help it." She stared into her daughter's eyes. The girl laid back again and covered her eyes with her arms. Ruthie crept close and looked down in awe. She whispered harshly, "She's sick, Ma? She gonna die?" "Of course not," Ma said. "She's gonna be all right? Paul came in with his armload of packages. "How is she?" "All right," said Ma. "She's gonna be all right." Ruthie reported to Winefield. "She ain't gonna die. Ma said so." And Winefield, picking his teeth with a splinter in a very dull manner, said, "I knows it all the time." "How'd you know?" Ruthie yelled at him. "Freaking kids. I won't tell," said Winefield, and he spat out a piece of splinter. Ma built the fire up with the last twigs and cooked the bacon and made gravy. Pa had brought some store bread. Ma scowled when she saw it. "We got any money left?" "Nope," said Pa, "but we was so hungry." "And you got store bread?" Ma said accusingly. "Well, we was awfully hungry. Worked all night long." Ma sighed. "Now what are we gonna do?" And as they ate, the water crept up and up, and Al gulped his food, and he and Paul built the platform, 5 feet wide, 6 feet long, 4 feet above the ground, and the water crept onto the edge of the highway. It seemed to hesitate for a long time, and then it moved slowly inward over the floor, and outside, the rain began again, and as it had before, big heavy drops splashed on the water. pounding howlingly onto the roof. And Al said, "Come on now, let's get the mattress up. Let's put the blankets up so they don't get wet." He piled their possessions up on the platform, and the water crept over the floor. Pa and Ma, Al and Uncle John, each at a corner, lifted Rosa Sharon's mattress with the girl on it and put it on top of the pile. As the girl protested, "I can walk, it's all right." As the water crept through the floor, a thin film of it, Rosa Sharon whispered to Ma, and Ma put her hand under the blanket and felt her breast and nodded. At the other end of the boxcar, the Wainwrights were pounding, building a platform for themselves. The rain thickened and then passed away. Ma looked down at her feet. The water was half an inch deep in the car floor by now. "You, Ruthie Winefield," she called distractingly. "Come get on top of the pile. You'll get cold," she said. She saw them safely up. Sitting awkwardly beside Rosa Sharon, Ma said suddenly, "We gotta get out of here." "Can't," said Paul. "Like Al said, all our stuff's here. We'll pull out the boxcar door and we'll make more room if we have to." Page 474. We are 5 pages away from finishing the book. The family huddled on the platform, silent and fretful. The water was 6 inches deep into the car, for the flood spread evenly over the embankment and moved into the cotton fields on the other side. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and smoke right fast. 5 more pages, the family's just getting fucking mollywopped. Like, by nature, by people, by money, by, like, everything's just crashing down. So we're basically, are we just seeing, like, what it finally takes to just take one of these hardworking people out? I really hope not. I really hope this isn't all leading up to the family just being killed. Alright, let's smoke. Clink, clink, clink. The last of this bull, I shall pack a bold. I still wish Tom was here. Even Ma's thinking about Tom right now. I don't blame her. I don't know what Tom would have done in this situation, but I feel like he would have figured something out. Al's doing the best he can, but he's as stubborn as Paul. Okay. Get a few nibbles here and there. Oh yeah, okay. I apologize, reader. I am scouring for a little bit of butt ski, and I'm actually coming to a bit of success. I'm very surprised with the amount of straggler I am getting from this. That's pretty good. That's like, I found myself another bowl. One-hander. Perfect. Alright. Let's hit this with pride then. I wish I had water right now to hydration check with y'all. But hydration check. On top of smoke check. Oh yeah. El perfecto. Okay. During the day and night, the men slept solemnly, side by side. During the day and night, the men slept solemnly, side by side, on the boxcar. Ma laid close to Rosa Sharon. Sometimes Ma whispered to her, and sometimes she sat up quietly, her face brooding. Under the blanket, she hoarded the remains of the store bread. The rain had become intermediate now. Little water squalls and quiet times. On the morning of the second day, Paul splashed through the camp and came back with 10 potatoes in his pockets. Ma watched him sullenly while he chopped out part of the inner wall of the steaming, boiling potatoes with their fingers. Hold up, I missed a whole sentence. Ma watched him sullenly while he chopped out part of the inner wall of the car, built a fire, and scooped water into the pan. The family ate the steaming boiled potatoes with their fingers, and when their last food was gone, they stared at the gray water, and in the night they did not lie down for a long time. When the morning came, they awakened nervously. Rosa Sharon whispered to Ma. Ma nodded her head. "Yes," she said, "it's time for it." And then she turned to the car door where the men laid. "We're getting out of here," she said savagely. "Getting to higher ground. And you're coming or you ain't coming. But I'm taking Rosa Sharon and the little fellas out of here." "We can't," Paul said weakly. "All right then. Maybe you'll pack Rosa Sharon to the highway anyways, and then come back. It ain't raining now. We'll be going." "All right, we'll go," Paul said. And I said too, "Ma, I ain't going." "Why not?" Ma demanded. "Well, Angie, why, her and me." Ma smiled. "Of course," she said. "You stay here, Al. Take care of the stuff. When the water goes down, why, we'll come back. Come quick, before it rains again," she told Paul. "Come on, Rosa Sharon. We're going to a dry place." "I can walk." "Maybe a little on the road. Get your back bent." "Paul?" Paul slipped into the water and stood waiting. Ma helped Rosa Sharon down from the platform and steadied her across the car. Paul took her to his arms. He held her as high as he could and pushed his way carefully through the deep water. Around the car, he took to the highway. He set her down on her feet and held on to her. Uncle John carried Ruthie and followed. "What about Winefield? The hell?" Ma slid down into the water, and for a moment her skirts biled out around her. "Winefield sat on my shoulder." "Oh, Winefield sat on my shoulder." "Al, we'll come back soon as the water's down. Al?" She paused. If Tom comes, tell him we'll be back. Tell him to be careful. Winefield, climb on my shoulders." She pulled the small boy up. "There!" Exclamation point. "Now keep your feet still." She staggered off through the breast-high water. The breast-high water's crazy. The water's flooded that bad? At the highway embankment, they helped her up and lifted Winefield from her shoulder. They stood on the highway and looked back over the sheet of water. The dark red blocks of the cars, the trucks and the automobiles, deep in the slow-moving water. And as they stood, a little misting rain began to fall. "You know, what about that chick at the freaking government camp that he was talking about marrying? Guess he can't go back there with Angie." "We got to get along," Ma said. "Rosa Sharon, you feel like you could walk? ? "Kinda dizzy," the girl says. "Feels like I've been beaten," Paul complained. "Now where again? Where are we going?" "I don't know. Come on, give me your hand and Rosa Sharon's." Ma took the girl's right hand to steady her, and Paul, at her left, getting someplace where it'll dry. "Got to. You fellas ain't had dry clothes on for 2 days." They moved slowly along the highway. They could hear the rushing of water on the stream beside the road. Ruthie and Winefield marched together, splashing their feet alongside the road. They were slowly along the road. The sky grew darker and the rain thickened. No traffic moved along on the highway. Gotta hurry, Ma said. If this here girl gets good and wet, I don't know what'll happen to her. You ain't said where we're hurrying to, Paul reminded her sarcastically. Page 476. The road curved alongside the stream. Ma searched the land and the flooded fields. Far off the road, on the left on a slight rolling hill, a rain-blackened barn stood. Look, Ma said. Look there. I bet it's dry as the barn. Let's go there till the rain stops. Paul sighed. Probably get us run out by the fella who owns it. Ahead, beside the road, Ruthie saw a spot of red. She raced to it. Scraggled. Wow, hold up. Cranium gone wild. I don't know what both of those words mean. I gotta write them down super quick. Hold up. I just found 2 words back to back I could not get off the top of my head. Let's check this out. A scraggly. Okay, I guess scraggly I could figure out. I just didn't pronounce it fast enough. Yeah, scraggly I definitely got. Scraggly, like, you know, shaggy. You looking a little rough. But this one, Geranium. Write that down. Gone wild, and there was one rain-beaten blossom on it. She picked the flower. She took a petal carefully off and stuck onto her nose. Winefield ran up to see. I feel like this is going to end with, like the family being shot at the barn, because not really much is coming up. We don't have too many pages left. She took a petal carefully off and stuck it on her nose. Winefield ran up to see. Let me have one, he said. No, sir. No, sir. It's all mine. I found it. She stuck another red petal on her forehead, a little bright red heart. Come on, Ruthie, let me have one. Come on now. He grabbed the flower in her hand and missed it, and Ruthie banged him in the face with her open hand. He stood for a moment, surprised, then his lips shook and his eyes wailed. The other caught up. Now what have you done? Ma asked. Now what have you done? He tried to grab my flower. Winefield sobbed. I only wanted one to stick in my nose. Give him one, Ruthie. Let him find his own. This here's mine. Ruthie, you give him one now. Ruthie held the thread in Ma's tongue and changed her tactics. Here, she said with elaborate kindness. I'll stick on one in for you. The older people walked on. Winefield held his nose near to her. She wetted a petal with her tongue and jabbed it cruelly on his nose. You little son of a bitch, she said softly. Winefield felt the petal with his fingers and pressed it down onto his nose. They walked quickly after the others. Winefield felt how the fun was gone. Here, she said, here's some more. Stick some onto your forehead. From the right of the roads, they came a sharp swifting. Ma cried, hurry up, there's a big rain coming. Let's go through the fence here. It's shorter. Come on now, bear on, Rosa Sharon. They half dragged the girl across the ditch, helped her through the fence, and then the storm struck them. Sheets of rain fell onto them. They plowed through the mud and up against the little incline. The black barn was nearly obscured by the rain. It hissed and splashed, and the growing wind drove it along. Rosa Sharon's feet slipped, and she dragged between her supporters. Paul, can you carry her, please? Said Ma. Ma leaned over and picked her up. We're wet through anyways, he said. Hurry up, Winefield. Ruthie, run on ahead. They came panting up to the rain-soaked barn and staggered on the open end. There was no door at this end. A few rusty farm tools laid there. A disc plow and a broken cultivator. An iron wheel, the rain hammered on the roof and curtained the entrance. Paul gently set Rosa Sharon down on a oily box. God almighty, he said. And Ma said, maybe there's hay inside. Maybe there's a door. She swung the door and its rusty hinges. There's a hay, she cried. Come on in, you. It was dark inside. A little light came in through the cracks between the boards. Lay there, Rosa Sharon, Ma said. Lay there and rest. I'll take the finger some way to dry you off. I'll try to figure out a way to dry you off. Winefield said, Ma, and the rain roared through the roof, drowned his voice. Ma, what is it? What you want? Look, in the corner. Ma looked. There were 2 fingers in the gloom. A man who laid on his back. The boy sat him beside him, his eyes wide, staring at the newcomers. As she looked, the boy got slowly up to his feet and came towards her. His voice croaked. You own this here? No, said Ma. Just coming out of the wet. We got a sick girl. Got a dry blanket we could use to get her wet clothes off? The boy went back to the corner and brought a dirty comfort and held it to Ma. Thank you, she said. What's the matter with that fella? The boy spoke in a croaking monotone. First he was sick, but now he's starving. What? Starving. Got sick in the cotton. He ain't eat for 6 days. Ma walked to the corner and looked down at the man. He was about 50, his whiskery face gaunt. Jesus. 478. And his eyes opens were vague and staring. The boy stood beside her. Your pa? ? Ma asked. Yeah! ! Says he wasn't hungry or he'd just eat. Give me the food. Now he's too weak. Can't hardly move. Why did that rhyme? The pounding of the rain decreased onto a soothing swish onto the roof. The gone man moved his lips. Ma kneeled beside him and put her ears close. Her lips moved again. Sure, said Ma. You just be easy. You'll be all right. Just you wait and we'll get the wet clothes off my girl. Ma went back to the girl. Now slip 'em off, she said. She held the comfort up to the screen from her view. When she was naked, Ma folded the comfort about her. The boy was at her side again, explaining. I didn't know, he said. He'd eat, or if he wasn't hungry. Last night I went to bust a wind and stole some bread. Made him chew her down, but he puked it all up, and then he was weaker. Gotta have soup or milk. You folks got money to get milk? Ma said, Hush, don't worry. We'll figure something out, boy. Suddenly the boy cried, He's dying, I can tell. He's starving to death, I can tell. Ma said, Hush. She looked at Pa and Uncle John standing helplessly, gazing at the sick man. She looked at Rosa Sharon's huddled in the comfort. Ma's eyes passed Rosa Sharon's eyes, and then came back to them. The 2 women looked deep into the others. The girl's breath came short and gasping. She said, Yes? Ma smiled. I know you would. I know. She looked down at her hands. Right locked into her lap. Rosa Sharon whispered, Will you all go out? The rain whiskered lightly on the roof. Ma leaned forward and placed her palm. She brushed the tousled hair back from her daughter's forehead. She kissed her on the forehead. Ma got up quickly. Come on, you fellas, she called. You come on out of the tool shed. Ruthie operated her mouth to speak. Hush, Ma said. Hush and get. She hurtled them through the door, drew the boy with her, and she closed the squawking door. For a minute, Rosa Sharon stayed still in the whispering barn. Then she hoisted her tired body up and drew the comfort about her. She moved slowly to the corner and stood looking down at the wasted face and the wide, frightened eyes. Then slowly she laid down beside him. He shook his head slowly from side to side. Rosa Sharon loosened one side of the blanket and bared her breast. You got to, she said. She squirmed closer and put her head close. "There," she said, "there." Her hand moved beside. She squirmed closer and put his head close. "There," she said, "there." Her hand moved behind his head. It supported it. Her fingers moved gently in his hair. She looked up and across the barn. Her lips came together and smiled mysteriously. The end. Oh, it gives a little bit about the author at the end. Born in Salinas, California in 1902, John Steinbeck grew up in a fertile agricultural valley about 25 miles from the Pacific coast. And both valley and that ending was quite a tearjerker. Both valley and coast would serve as settings from some of his best fiction. In 1919, he went to Stanford University, where he intermediately enrolled in literature and writing courses until he left in 1925 without taking a degree. During the next 5 years, he supported himself as a laborer and journalist in New York City, all the time working on his first novel, Cup of Gold, 1929. After marriage and a move to Pacific Grove, he published 2 California fictions, The Pastures of Heaven in 1932 and To a God Unknown in 1933. He worked on short stories later, collecting The Long Valley, 1938. Popular success and financial security came only when Tortilla Flat, 1935, stories about Monterey's Paseanos, a ceaseless experimenter throughout his career. Steinbeck changed courses regularly. 3 powerful novels in the late 1930s focused on the California laboring class in dubious battle. In 1936, Of Mice and Men, of 1937, I read that book, Of Mice and Men. You know what, that really kind of fits. I really wish Georgie and Lenny could have met the Joel family. I bet Lenny would have had so much to freaking talk about. Casey and Lenny would have been such great friends. And the book considered by many his finest. The Grapes of Wrath, yeah. This was a good book. I can't explain it right now, but that ending really impacted me for some reason. I'll continue. Early in the 1940s, Steinbeck became a filmmaker with The Forgotten Village in 1941, and a serious student in marine biology with Sea of Cortez in 1941. He devoted his services to the war, writing Bombs Away in 1942, and the controversial novelty The Moon is Down, 1942. Cannery Row in 1945, The Wayward Bus in 1947, and The Pearl in 1947 I actually think, hold on. I have the pearl right here. That is really funny. Yeah, look. The pearl. I'm not gonna read it right away, like after this one, because I want to read the Bible. But yeah, I'll check that book out. A Russian Journal in 1948, another experimental drama, Burning Bright in 1950, and The Log from the Sea of Cortez in 1951. So hopefully the Log from the Sea of Cortez is like a follow-up to the Sea of Cortez, or something along that lines. Preceded publication on the monumental East of Eden in 1952, an ambitious saga of the Salinas Valley and his own family's history. The last decades of life were spent in New York City and Sag Harbor with his third wife, with whom he traveled widely. Later books included Sweet Thursday in 1954, The Short Reign of Pipin 4 of Fabrication in 1954. Once There Was a War in 1958, The Winter of Our Discontent in 1961, Travels with Charlie in Search of America in 1962, America and Americans in 1966, and the posthumous published Journal of a Novel, The East of Eden, Letters, 1969. Viva Zapata! 1975, The Acts of King Arthur and His Noble Knights in 1976, and The Working Days, The Journal of the Grapes of Wrath in 1989. He died in 1968, having won a Nobel Prize in 1962. John Steinbeck was a really accomplished man. I could see he dedicated his craft to literature to the very end. It's quite admirable and inspiring, to say the least. I'm just reading the reviews in 1939. Honestly, I feel like this is something that we should all hear. From the original reviews in 1939 for The Grapes of Wrath. One comes away moved, indignant, protesting, pitying. One salutes it as a fierily document of protest and compassion, as a story that had to be told, as a book that must be read. Louis Congreve Bigger, The Nation Journal. It is Steinbeck's best novel, i.e. his toughest and tenderest, his roughest written, and most mellifluous, his most realistic, and, in its ending, his most melodramatic, his angriest and most idyllic. Times Magazine. The book's power and importance do not lie in its political insight, but its intense humanity, its grasp of the spirit of an entire people traversing a wilderness, its kindlessness, its humor, and its bitter indignation. The Grapes of Wrath is the American novel of the season, perhaps the year, possibly the decade. Clifton Feigelman, The New York Times. Oh, the New Yorker. Apologies. This hat's so big I can't read this bottom, but it's all just, tributes and paper illustration designed by Michael Schwab Studio, a member of the Penguin Group. The Penguin Group? That is so funny. Yeah. The Grapes of Wrath. I'm done. I did it. I read 479 pages. When this started, I didn't have a proper grasp of what I was in for. Not at all. Even attempting to try to read the beginning parts and, spoil myself as much as I could. I just, nothing was making sense to me. And nothing did make sense to me until the end. I was shallow during some of these parts of the book. I felt the end. And there was more than I could have possibly asked for. Coming out of this book made me have just a little bit more hope in the possibility of how far a person is willing to push themselves to make the world a better place. In the middle of this passage where this boy and his starving father were sitting in this abandoned barn, this family comes that had just been struggling the worst, most tragic life anybody could possibly endure as a family during that time. And with the boy and the father sitting there, the family comes in, and as the boy begs for them to figure out what to do and if they could do anything, the milk produced from the stillborn that the girl was giving birth to was used as the final depiction of the human essence. I would do whatever it takes to save somebody's life just for a second longer, that they would want to stay alive, to hope to see that the ones they love know that they were on this earth for as long as they could be, because life is a beautiful thing. Rosa Sharon, she lost a lot. Ma, she lost a lot. Pa, she lost a lot. Al, he lost a lot. He kind of got the long end of the stick, so he was pretty high no matter what. Nobody was expecting too much of him. Casey, he died. Tom, we'll never figure out what happened to Tom, but at least he got that $7. At least he might do something with himself before he ends up trying to start a revolution and ends up dying like Casey. Grandma and Grandpa would have hated to see the family in the state, so maybe it was best that they gone first. That Indian, he's not gonna see the family again, or Tom. Angie, hopefully her and Al did end up marrying properly, and the Wainwrights were good people to him. That was a good book. That was an amazing book. I appreciate every piece of wording, all the letters I got to study from, I got to stumble over, and I can't thank anybody who comes onto these videos more than enough for just sticking around to check out how I was able to grow after reading this book. That family didn't give up. what happened, no matter what came their way, they always found a solution somehow to ease the suffering of other people and themselves. The Joels. Alright, y'all take care.